Hello, everyone. On August the 8th and 9th, we are going to have a Venus-Pluto opposition. Now, you might wonder, why is this such a big deal? As we well know that Venus is opposite Pluto every 8 months. So it's not such a big deal. The degree is interesting because a number of transcendental celestial objects are around 25, 26, 27 degrees of the signs. And since these are usually very, very slow moving celestial objects, they will be there for quite a while. So what makes this particular opposition interesting is the time frame. War and famine are looming in our world. And Venus and Pluto, the opposition itself, can be described in many, many ways. In comic astrology, Venus-Pluto aspects are usually described as an emotional black hole. But at the same time, Venus rules money and Pluto rules power. So you can also look at the opposition, if you look at it as a world aspect, as money versus power. This is exactly what's happening in the world, if you look around. For some unfathomable reason, which I haven't been able to understand yet, but I can see what is happening. The powers that be, the world leaders, decided to destroy the form of capitalism, globalist capitalism, that we have seen for in the last 60 years, that they have created in the last 60 years. And now they decide that they have decided to destroy it. And there are so many very negative things going on in the world. All you need to do is please look at Sri Lanka. Look at what happened to Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka was an upcoming country with a brilliant agriculture. They were trying to come out of poverty and they were working quite well. All of a sudden, they had a globalist, leftist, greenish government, and they destroyed their whole economy. That's what happened there. In a year or two, they completely destroyed their economy, their agriculture. It's an agricultural country. It used to be a brilliant food-creating country, and now there's famine, and there's a complete bankruptcy. The whole country is bankrupt. And there are 22 million people who are going to starve and who are going to destroy their country further, because if you don't have anything to eat, you kill the animals. And if you don't have fuel, you burn whatever you can. So, and that is happening in front of our eyes. No one does anything. And the world leaders don't actually act. In fact, they are pushing us towards the same measures, the same idiotic ideas. And no one says a word, because mainstream media, or the way we call it, legacy media, is behind the whole scheme and is actually helping it happen instead of telling the truth and lifting the smoke screen and showing what is actually happening. So this very tiny aspect, which is only there for a day or two, maybe 3 days, if you allow it a 1 degree orb, I usually allow a 1 to 2 degree orb for each world aspect. So it can last from 2 days to really a couple of weeks, and then it's moving out. And the space-time moment is interesting because, as I said, Pluto and Venus could be serving each other. Think about it. Pluto rules Scorpio and Venus rules Taurus. And Scorpio and Taurus are opposite each other, but in complementary signs. So they can serve each other, but they are, of course, always kind of in a clash, because, of course, power wants to make money. Money wants to actually buy power. That's what they do. They buy into power with money. That's what politicians do many, many times, especially in the United States and elsewhere as well. So now they are clashing. And the way I look at it, I don't really have too many hopes regarding how people are going to see what's happening in front of their eyes, because most people are dumb, and most people don't actually look behind the so-called facts that they want us, legacy media wants us to know. And they don't research anything, and they just don't realize that their whole world is going to collapse within months, at least here in Europe, but also in the United States. And this is what's happening. And when you look back in the upcoming months, this is a decisive moment of a moment of reckoning, a moment that has the ability to stop us on our courses and say, hey, wait a second here. Are we going to really destroy our world? In the name of what? It's a very, very well-known economic fact that those people who are well off are much more conscientious regarding everything really around them, because they pay attention to their environment. And those people who have got nothing to lose are not. So, we could live well. Everyone could live well. We have enough resources in the world. And no, we are not destroying anything. We human beings cannot change climate. That's a total hoax. And there's no such thing as green energy. There's no such thing. Those equipments require energy even to be built, like solar panels and things like that. And if you buy a couple of solar panels, you will never be able to make up the money that you put into it. I myself bought solar panels, of course, because I wanted to save the environment. But I just realized that there's no way I can make enough energy with it, and it will never pay for itself, because by the time it has to be decomposed and demolished, because it's not going to be built. So it's actually, we are producing more trash with this. It's just ridiculous. So let's take a look at the chart. And in this time, I didn't show you the whole chart. I'm just showing you bits and pieces, the important ones. If you look at London around noon or something like that, you will have a ground cross, but anywhere you watch this video, you won't have a ground cross. You will have definitely a T-square between Venus, Pluto, and Aries. I just like the fact that we have a Libra rising around noon in London, but that's not the important portion. Everything else except for the moon, which is also going to be within orb, for another 4-5 hours compared to noon in London. We will have this very interesting planetary picture around 25-26 degrees of the signs. The cardinal T-square involving Venus, Pluto, and Aries will be there wherever you see it, wherever you want to observe it, on the 8th and 9th of August. After that, the Venus is moving out of the opposition. So by 11th, 12th, it's not going to oppose Pluto anymore. And the Pluto-Aries square, which has been there for at least 3 years, that is also separating, thank God, because it really disrupted our world in the last 3 years. Aries denotes drastically altered outer circumstances, and Pluto is power and transformation, and that's exactly what you have seen. They're creating a brand new, totally brave new world, and destroying our old stuff, and we don't really know what to do about it. Luckily, you have actually two solutions to this T-square or ground cross, and one is with the moon. The moon is making a trine to Aries, a fire trine, and a square to a quincus. The moon is making quincus to Venus, so that here you have a cardinal fire engine. And the other engine is a mutable water engine involving Neptune, Venus-Neptune trine, square the moon. So that's what you have. Engines are very efficient configurations because they are made up by a square, a trine, and a quincunx. So they have the drive of the square the blessing of the trine, or the harmony creating potential of the trine, and the karmic intention of the Klinkungs. And as you can see, the feminine planets, Venus and the moon, are very relevant in this configuration. Let's take a look at the transcendental objects. Asclepius is rising at the space-time moment, but as I said, 10 minutes later, maybe 12 minutes later, you don't have this anymore there. So be careful with, what you, so when you are going to look at it. I actually liked the fact that we have Asclepius there. And so let's take a look at the transcendental objects that are going to be everywhere in the world. Venus has a lot. Venus has Geisha, okay, the wise consort, let's put it this way, okay, geishas in Japan are the ladies who are, they're not hookers, okay, they are wise, sophisticated women who are also very learned and talented. And you have Abundancia, which is abundance, of course, the goddess of abundance, and which suggests that, yes, we have everything. Believe me, we do have everything. This is a man-made crisis. They want to demolish the old world, and they want to create a new world order, courtesy of Schwab, okay, Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum. And they are just evil people. They are evil, horrible people. But we do have abundance. Galahad, the knight in shining armor, we need a couple of ones. And again, there was a reason why they speak about toxic masculinity and patriarchal stuff. It's bullshit, okay? It's bullshit. We need strong men. We do need strong, healthy, able men who are going to protect us. We need our knights in shining armor. And Plato, the philosopher. And also Procyon, which is Alpha Canis Minor, a very bright star, okay? The problem is that after its rising comes Sirius, which is an even brighter star in Canis Major, the big dog and the little dog. And they really behave as if they were the alpha and beta stars of one constellation, because poor Procyon is overshadowed by an even brighter star, Sirius. And on Neptune, you have Cleopatra, the queen, okay, who can rule, and Hermes, the goddess not just of commerce, but also of alchemy, and the centaur Okiro, who is the daughter of Chiron and Chariclo, and she inherited the traits from her parents, and she became a clairvoyant. The problem was that she constantly blurted out what she wasn't supposed to, so the fates were always punishing her, and she got fed up with it, and she turned herself into a horse and forgot to talk. And it usually denotes knowledge that needs to be hidden. And this is a double hiding, because Neptune, of course, also is the smoke screen in many ways, the big forward smoke screen that is hiding the truth. And in order to uncover it, you need to go one level up. And on Pluto, you have Buddha, enlightenment, and Amicus, the centaur, who is not caring whether he's using something, a sacred object, in a very profound situation, for instance, war. So those are the transcendental objects. At the end, I'm going to show you a very interesting drawing, because we do have other objects at 25, 26, 27 degrees of the signs. But anyhow, we do have a fixed karmic cage. The sun is squaring the nodal axis. You can see that on the 8th and 9th, Uranus is still very tightly conjunct the north node. And this is a karmic cage when you have the nodal axis squared by a celestial object. It's always a karmic cage. And especially with the sun or the moon, there's always a very strong illumination. The situation with a karmic cage is very easy, because the south node denotes what you bring in as your karmic talent, as your karmic experience. And the north node is your chosen destiny. And usually you spend at least half of your life to live out of your south node. and you're not stepping into your north node until much later. But when you have a T square karmic cage, then the squares simply push you towards exploring your north node much, much earlier than average. And when the sun and the moon are there at the apex, at the bending, you have this effect of illumination as well. And this is exactly what's happening. So Uranus and the North Node suggest that we need to change our destiny. And now the sun is illuminating what's good in the past and what needs to be done in the future. This T square or karmic cage is dissolved by the Liliths, out of which the black moon Lilith, which is a slower moving thing, is, it describes a point in the myth when Lilith goes back into the Garden of Eden because she needs to teach Eve certain feminine ways. And the dark moon is the moment in the myth when Lilith leaves the Garden of Eden and accepts curse, takes upon herself Yahweh's curse. So it's actually a very strong conjunction between the two. And it is actually the dark moon, the curse Lilith, that is making the trine to the south node, because the black moon is still a little bit behind. But I left it here because I found it interesting that both Liliths are important at the space-time moment. And in the upcoming days, this will be an ever tightening trine. So in the next couple of weeks, you will see black moon Lilith trining the south node, giving it this very strong feminine impact of knowledge and courage and honor and stamina. That's what the black moon Lilith means. And so this T square is dissolved by the Liliths on the one hand, and also by Pallas Athena, which makes a sextile to the sun, wisdom. And if you take a good look, you can see that there is a harmony triangle, because we also have a Sun Chiron trine, which is brilliant because it is about healing. That is why I chose the space-time moment when we had Asclepius rising on the ascendant. But of course, that is just for a couple of maybe 10, 12 minutes of the trine. Okay, here, so the harmony triangle is really brilliant because it shows some way out. At the apex, you have Pallas Athena, wisdom and feminine knowledge, and you also have the healing trine of actually it's a fire trine, so it's actually even stronger because fire is the element of transformation. And let's take a look at the transcendental celestial objects. We have quite a few. I just wanted to show you that Chiron is not quincunxing the south node because you don't have it's not within all. So it's really not closing. And also the semi-sextiles are not there. So, this is a bit wide, but you do have some portions which are very tight. Anyhow, on the sun, you have Cerberus, who was Cerberus, the keeper of the gates of the underworld. And here you have a Pluto-Venus opposition. So the underworld, okay, the lords of the underworld are opposed to money and harmony. And here the sun is guarded by Cerberus. Also Amor, love, Thetis, feminine wisdom. Thetis was the proto goddess before Neptune. She ruled the oceans and the waters. Apollo, which is another sun energy. He was the Greek sun god. And Dubhe, which is Alpha Ursa Major. It's a very bright star, 2 magnitude bright star. And the whole Big and Little Bear are linked to the feminine energy, to the goddess energy. On the North Node, Uranus conjunction, you have Niobe, who represents very, very deep grief and complete loss. And this reminds us, or actually calls attention to the fact that whatever we choose now in this space-time moment could actually cause tons of grief, inconsolable and really deep pain. Lancelot, again, another knight in shining armor. So there is hope that we can make changes to our destiny, which will be very, very painful, but at the same time, we could be saved. It's either or. On Chiron, you have Thalia, and Thalia is the muse of the playwrights of theater. And that is what's happening with mainstream media. They are showing the smokescreen to us, and they're showing the reality, which is not reality. So that's the problem with it. So don't trust the mainstream media. Don't trust the theater that they are trying to show us. On Pallas Athena, you have Agamemnon, a fighter. Okay, he was one of the generals of the Trojan War, and Rigel, which is Beta Orion, which is one of the feet, actually the knees of the big celestial hunter. But Orion represents also the pharaoh, and Rigel is linked to the protection of the pharaoh, how he protects his peoples, and how he teaches and educates his people. So it's a very important star. It's actually a very bright star as well, 0.3 magnitude. On Black Moon Lilith, you have Diomedes, who was the Thracian leader, and he had man-eating horses. So he's a very wild, aggressive archetype. Coupled with Black Moon Lilith is quite interesting. And on the Dark Moon Lilith, you have Virtus, the virtues, Eheklus, which is a centaur describing dilemmas regarding reality and truth. What you consider truth and what you consider reality. It's quite fascinating that it surfaces at the moment. And on Sirius, or on the Dark Moon, you have Sirius and Canopus. I'm going to show you these. So these are two very bright stars. Look at them, they are minuses, so it means that they're brighter than the average. Alpha Carina, Canopus, is 0.9 minus, and Sirius, which is the brightest star in the sky, is 1.4 minus. Very, very bright stars. Where are they? I'm going to show you. Both are at 14, 15 degrees of Cancer at the moment. You can see that they are within 1 degree. So when one is there at any chalk point, usually the other is there as well. But it doesn't mean that they are really conjunct. They are simply aligned, as Bernadette Brady used the term for the first time. I think it was in 2005 or 6, when she suggested using the term aligned instead of conjunct, because they are not on the ecliptic, so they hardly ever can be conjunct anything. And this is what you see here. If you are located in the northern hemisphere, you will never be able to see Canopus, unfortunately, because it's a very southern star. Sirius, you can observe from the northern hemisphere as well, sometime in November, when you look at Orion, and then you look to the east, and you will see a bright star close to the horizon. You can observe it from November till maybe March, something like that. Okay, so with this, you can see how really far away they could be. Just because they have the same degree doesn't mean that they are really close to each other at all. And here you have another picture, which I leave here for a couple of minutes, but you can always rewind the video and take a good look at this. So you can take a look at them, what they mean. And all I wanted to show you with this is that you can always make the picture much more complicated, complex, and intricate by trying to find celestial objects, especially centaurs and TNOs, that are at certain points in the signs, because they don't really move anywhere. These are very slow-moving objects. Okay, for instance, Varda and Ceto and more Somnus and Pelion and Sila Luna, and they're around 3. No, Pelion is actually faster, but more Somnus, Ceto, Varda, and Sila Luna are around 300 years. Alicanto is about 37,000 years. Think about that. So they don't move anywhere. They're not moving. They're not going anywhere. And they will be there, especially when two celestial objects have the same orbital period, or very roughly the same orbital period. Let's say one has 300 years, the other has 310 years. They will be moving together for decades, okay? And they always signify periods, karmic periods in time. And of course, Alicanto never goes anywhere. So that's practically it, this particular Pluto-Venus opposition. And as I said, it is not rare at all, but the space-time moment is really rare. We are at a crossroads. We, humankind, are at a crossroads, and we need to decide, and we need to decide fast. There are two potentials in front of us. One is when we are effectively killing ourselves, not just shooting ourselves in the foot, but actually shooting ourselves in the lungs, which is irreparable. That's what we are going to do on the one hand, as a potential, if we believe the green hoax. Please get alternative sites and alternative ideas. There's no such thing as green energy, okay? There are energies that are at our disposal and quite cheap, which they are now making very, very expensive, so that then we can say, okay, we are not going to do this, we are not going to do that, because we won't have the means to do, for instance, to buy food, or for instance, to heat our houses. And again, I want you to understand that those people who have nothing to lose are a lot more dangerous and pollute a lot more. And this is exactly when you create famine. When you create famine, you create wars, you create disruption, you create revolts, and horrible things will happen if we don't stop this nonsense. It is up to you as well. If you stand up and if you say no, for instance, to certain movements, and you research true ideas, you will see that this whole sinister agenda is run by idiots, crazy idiots who don't know what they are doing, and they have no idea what they are unleashing to the world. So let me help you to stop it by making you understand what's really going on, and please help me stop it by joining me. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.